In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the reason why the U.S. failed the war in Afghanistan. We'll explore the challenges faced by the U.S. military, the political and social issues that contributed to the failure, the role of Pakistan, and the U.S. military strategy and tactics. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete understanding of why the U.S. was unable to achieve its objectives in Afghanistan. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty details, let's talk about why this topic is important. The war in Afghanistan was a significant event in U.S. history, with far-reaching consequences for both the U.S. and the region. It's essential that we understand what went wrong in this conflict so we can learn from our mistakes and avoid similar failures in the future. Without any further ado, let's get started. We're excited to take you on this journey and hear your thoughts in the comments below. Picture this. It's September 11, 2001. The world is in shock as the Twin Towers in New York City collapse, killing thousands of innocent people. The United States government, in response, launches a massive global hunt for the mastermind behind the attacks, Osama bin Laden. After months of intelligence gathering and reconnaissance, the U.S. government identifies bin Laden's location in Afghanistan under the protection of the Taliban regime. The U.S. government demands that the Taliban turn over bin Laden, but they refuse, leading to the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan. The U.S. military, with its advanced weaponry and highly trained soldiers, launches a full-scale assault on Afghanistan. Their mission? To capture or kill Osama bin Laden and dismantle al-Qaeda's terrorist network. But as the conflict drags on, their goals become more ambitious. They want to establish a stable and democratic government in Afghanistan and bring peace to the region. The stakes are high and the challenges are enormous. But will the U.S. be able to achieve its objectives? Or will it become entangled in a quagmire with no end in sight? Stick around, because in this video, we'll be diving deep into the reasons why the U.S. ultimately failed in its mission in Afghanistan. We want to know what you think. The U.S. invasion of Afghanistan was worth it or not? Now that we have an understanding of the historical background, let's talk about the challenges faced by the U.S. military in Afghanistan. Afghanistan was no easy feat for the U.S. military. The harsh terrain, difficult climate, and rugged geography made it a daunting task for even the most experienced soldiers. And to make matters worse, the Taliban and other insurgent groups in Afghanistan were experts at guerrilla warfare, using hit-and-run tactics, ambushes, and improvised explosive devices to inflict damage and spread terror. But the U.S. military was determined to succeed. They poured billions of dollars into the war effort, sent in tens of thousands of troops, and developed sophisticated new technologies and strategies to try and gain the upper hand. They even tried to win the hearts and minds of the Afghan people by building schools and hospitals and providing aid. However, despite their best efforts, the U.S. military faced one challenge after another. They struggled to adapt to the guerrilla-style warfare of the Taliban and other insurgent groups, and the harsh conditions of Afghanistan took a toll on both the troops and equipment. To make matters worse, the U.S. military often found it difficult to differentiate between friend and foe as the insurgents blended in with the local population. And as the conflict dragged on, it became clear that the U.S. was in over its head. The war cost the U.S. billions of dollars and took the lives of thousands of brave soldiers. But despite all of this, the U.S. military was unable to achieve its objectives in Afghanistan. Now, we can't talk about the U.S.'s failure in Afghanistan without discussing the role of Pakistan. While the U.S. was pouring billions of dollars and thousands of troops into the war effort, Pakistan was supporting the Taliban and other extremist groups in Afghanistan. Pakistan's support made it incredibly difficult for the U.S. to achieve its objectives in Afghanistan. The Taliban and other groups were able to use Pakistan as a safe haven, allowing them to launch attacks on U.S. and Afghan forces and then retreat across the border to safety. But why did Pakistan support these groups? Well, the reasons are complex and multifaceted, but one factor was Pakistan's long-standing rivalry with India. Pakistan saw the Taliban and other extremist groups as a way to maintain influence in Afghanistan and counter India's presence in the region. Unfortunately, Pakistan's actions had devastating consequences. The US and Afghan forces were fighting an uphill battle, and the support of Pakistan for the Taliban and other groups only made it harder for them to succeed. An ex-ISI chief named Hamid Gul even told in an interview that defeating the US in Afghanistan was a plan of Pakistani intelligence. Pakistan's betrayal and backstabbing made matters only worse for the US. When it comes to military strategy and tactics in Afghanistan, the US relied heavily on drone strikes and special operations forces. These tactics allowed the US military to target terrorists and insurgents with pinpoint accuracy and minimal risk to US troops. But here's the thing. Focusing solely on killing terrorists and insurgents may have been counterproductive in the long run. While these tactics may have eliminated some threats, they also caused civilian casualties and fueled anti-American sentiment in Afghanistan. Moreover, the U.S. military's reliance on these tactics had limitations. They were effective in eliminating some high-value targets, but they couldn't address the underlying issues driving the insurgency in Afghanistan. The U.S. military struggled to gain the trust and support of the Afghan people, and without that support, their efforts to defeat the insurgency were bound to fail. So, what do you think about the U.S. military strategy and tactics in Afghanistan? Do you think they were effective? What could they have done differently? Now, you may have heard some conspiracy theories about how the war in Afghanistan was the wrong approach and that it was started by former President Bush to save his presidency. While we won't dive too deep into these theories, what's clear is that the U.S.'s mission in Afghanistan didn't go as planned. So, what lessons can we learn from this failure? Well, first and foremost, it's crucial to understand the local culture and politics when engaging in a military intervention. The U.S. military struggled to connect with the Afghan people, and without their support, it was difficult to make progress. Secondly, a clear strategy with achievable objectives is essential. In Afghanistan, the U.S. mission was often unclear, and the objectives were constantly shifting. This lack of clarity made it difficult to measure progress and determine when the mission was complete. So, what can we conclude from all of this? The U.S.'s failure in Afghanistan was not due to a lack of effort or resources, but rather a combination of complex factors that made success nearly impossible. So, what do you think? Do you think the U.S.'s mission in Afghanistan was doomed from the start? Or could different tactics and strategies have made a difference? Let us know in the comments below. We hope you found this video informative. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.